because kind of a one-trick pony here. I can only do one thing at a time. But anyway, it is already Thursday.
It
looks
is.
like another beautiful day. And just a little bit of a dip in temperature for Saturday, but otherwise a really great weekend temperature-wise.
Yeah.
So looking forward to that. You can get out, do some walking, go out. It just feels so good to be outside. But I would caution people that treacherous.
It's very,
Gotta
very
tell ya.
icy. Every morning I go out to leave, I always throw sand and salt on our walkway because ours is kind of on a hill, and it's like all the water during the day just kind of goes down our sidewalk and then freezes at night, and so it's...
Okay, was I on camera for that sneeze?
You were.
Okay, so folks, that is how you sneeze on the air and nobody hears it.
You hit the button.
Yeah. Only I never make any noise when I sneeze, which, by the way, don't do that because it's not good for you. But when I'm on the air, I do that, and now you've seen it, so there you go. That's how you sneeze quietly.
Very quiet.
Yeah. So anyway, Thursday, and, a couple of things make me feel like, oh my goodness, spring is around the corner. And I've said so many times, having
Yeah.
Again, it has flown. We're talking about March 1 on Saturday. We're talking about Lenten services beginning. Get some cooler weather. But boy, at this point, you see the end of the tunnel is a lot closer than it was back in January. So hopefully that makes you feel good. And I say just get out and enjoy while you can. As I look back at the calendar, we were visiting about this last night, and there was one year, and I think it was March 4th or 5th, we actually played a round of golf. And we were down kind of by Wilmer someplace. I can't remember the golf course we were at, but we happened to be down at John's sister's. And we went over and played golf on March 4th or 5th, whatever the date was.
I was talking to my dad yesterday, and he's like, hey, do you know if the golf course is open? I'm like,
yeah.
no, not
a
yet.
little early for
I'm like, there's still a lot of snow out there.
A lot of snow, and the ground was pretty hard. I will tell you that time, and the ground was really hard that day we played in. It was very unusual, but had been a very mild March. And so it wasn't the first nice day. There had been many nice days that allowed us to get out to the golf course. And the great thing was, it had been nice for a short enough amount of time so that the water hazards were still frozen.
Oh, that's nice. You just gotta skip
yeah,
across.
so if you hit the water, it just skipped across and went back on the golf course. A plus for me. The hazard, not quite so hazardous.
Okay.
So, anyway.
And if you're watching our video stream and you hear audio going in and out, Derek is working very hard trying to get the audio fixed.
Okay. All right. Well, there you go. And of course, daily. Information that we're getting is so different.
Yeah.
Depending on what news source you listen to or watch. And just when I think, oh my goodness, they're going too fast, they're making too many cuts, and then I read this is going to be cut, and then I read another report that says, nope, that was misinformation, that is not going to be cut, this is not, So we're back to who do you believe? Same thing on the whole measles deal. And he believes that it is not due to people not vaccinating.
Oh, it's
now,
very much due.
Well, it may be, but if that is the case, which to some degree I believe it is, I mean, people just don't trust. They don't trust vaccinations anymore.
Yeah,
You know what I would love to know is if we could take a look at what was in that. You always got, as a well baby check, the shots that they gave when I was having babies. It was called the MMR, and it was mumps, measles, rubella. You got all three in one shot.
Yep.
So I would love to know what was in that measles vaccination back in the day, 40 years ago, even 30 years ago, and compare that to what is in the measles vaccination today. I would like to know that. Is it the same? Because it should be. Because it worked.
Yeah, it worked. I mean, the thing you got to look at is with the most diseases and most viruses.
I suppose they mutate, they change, and then of course what we're eating, drinking, all that sort of thing plays into it too.
Yeah.
But I would love to know how different that vaccination is today than it was, let's say, even 20 years ago. Is it different? I'd like to know that. I know there's probably no way to find out that information. And even if you looked it up, then you'd have to decide, should I believe this or not? That's the part that is so frustrating for me. You can't even Google anything because who believes Google?
No.
Right?
And the thing is, it's almost like Google's results are just getting more just clouded. I forgot what I was looking up yesterday, and it seemed like all the Google's responses were kind of more toward, it wasn't even remotely close to what I was looking for, and so I had to use Yahoo, and Yahoo popped up what I was looking for.
You know, are there other search engines, do you think, that are more middle of the road that we should be using rather than just...
Oh, there's a ton of them.
I know there are lots of them, but do you know of any that we would feel better about going to?
Not off the top of my head.
Because I know they're out there.
I'm going to probably pay attention to it the next time
I have too. In fact, that's what I'm thinking of, but I can't think of the name of it.
What it was, but I don't know.
We might have to Google it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think there are other search engine options out there. And I think the one you're talking about is the ad that I've seen. And not only is it a more middle-of-the-road kind of search engine, but it doesn't follow your searches. It doesn't follow you, which would be nice.
That would be very
nice,
yeah.
Yeah. And so anyway, I think we have to pay attention to that.
It was funny, the other day I was talking to Jen while she was putting her hair curlers in, and she was trying a different...
She would love hearing that.
Yeah, well, she was trying a different set of curlers. It wasn't like the normal like curlers. It was some weird like little sleeve curler type things, and it looked like she had dreadlocks. I mean,
because she's got really long hair.
Well, not really long, but I mean,
kinda long.
Well, a little bit shoulder length.
Oh, okay. I was thinking it was longer than that.
And then, we're sitting here, and I'm starting to sing in Jamaican, trying to sing a little Bob Marley. And sure enough, on her phone, later on in the day,
Bob Marley.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
It said, "Get away, get to Jamaica."
We are so being followed.
Yeah.
In everything you say and do.
She's like, my phone
around
was
your
listening
device.
to you sing.
Yeah. Yes. Boy, that is frightening. Well, anyway, so many things going on within the government, and there was I'll have to look it up, but there was an article from Mike Huckabee yesterday that spelled out some of the fallacies of the things that we're hearing in the news in terms of these cuts and who they're taking out, which is not even the truth, or what they actually do, and the reason that they're being cut, which is much different than we're hearing on mainstream media. So I'll have to dig that up for you.
I was watching one news outlet out of the cities yesterday, and they were interviewing somebody who worked at the VA that got let go. She was in a probationary position and stuff, and she wouldn't identify herself, and she wouldn't identify what she did.
Oh.
But she was let go, and she's going to say it's going to impact the veterans and all. And they're like, well, what did you actually do for the veterans? Well, I can't tell you that.
Okay, well, so
what was your job?
Yeah, and if they won't say, that's like going online and complaining about something anonymously.
Yeah.
If you won't give us the details, then what you're telling us really holds no water.
Yeah, she wouldn't say her name. They couldn't
somebody
film
local?
In the cities.
Oh, okay. Well, kind of local.
Yeah, but yeah, they filmed her from behind. They wouldn't say her name or what she did at the VA, just that she was let go.
Okay, so that's a nothing story in my head. You know,
she
you
had
got
her
no details.
they had her performance evaluation, and they said it was, she didn't live up to the standards, but she's like, oh, my latest performance evaluation, I was outstanding, I was this, I was that, and it's like, but what do you do?
What do you do? Give us, yeah, and that should have been the first. It should have been the first thing in the story. Yeah, poorly done. Anyway, with regard to just kind of jumping a little bit to another area that's super controversial, and that is all these people that are being identified and deported who are illegally living in the United States. And, of course, there's some people on the other side of things, and even some people who would, I think, consider themselves conservative are a little up in arms about some of the way that they're going about this, or at least the way it's being reported to us. They think it's unkind and inhumane and all of that sort of thing. But if you are one that believes that if you are illegally in this country, that is illegal.
Yeah.
That's why they call you an illegal immigrant. And so Kristi Noem had this to say. I saw this, and she gives a pretty clear warning as to what's going to happen if you are in this country illegally. But I think it has a good message as it ends with a little bit of heart as to who we are in the United States and who we want to welcome. And I thought it was well done, so I'm going to play it for you.
I'm Kristi Noem, the United States Secretary of Homeland Security. Thank you, President Donald J. Trump, for securing our border, for deporting criminal illegal immigrants, and for putting America first. President Trump has a clear message for those that are in our country illegally. Leave now. If you don't, we will find you, and we will deport you. You will never return. For too long, weak politicians left our borders wide open. They flooded our communities with drugs, human trafficking, and violent criminals. They put American lives at risk. Well, those days are over. If you leave now, you may have an opportunity to return and enjoy our freedom and live the American dream. But understand this. Under President Trump, America's borders are closed to lawbreakers. Follow the law, and you'll find opportunity. Break it, and you'll find consequences. The choice is yours. America welcomes those who respect our laws, because a strong nation is a safe nation.
Isn't that good? I really like that.
The one thing, though, that has come out yesterday that I'm not exactly fond of is the $5 million green card. Give us $5 million bucks, you're going to get a green card.
Yeah.
That
true.
I'm heavily
like,
against that.
Yeah, me too. That's like getting yeah, for sure. Yeah, that doesn't work. But I thought what she said was, hey, I mean, it was very clear.
Yeah.
And this administration is very clear about it. I mean, there's no gray area here. It's black and white. If you're here illegally, get out. And if you go back to your country and then try to come back to the United States and become a United States citizen and come here legally, then it's different. We'll welcome you.
Because obviously, especially if you start talking agriculture, we need the help. I mean, we need people to come in, and that's heavily dependent on immigrant labor, and they need to get proper green cards and work visas and stuff, and obviously there's a need. So go back, apply. You'll probably get it if you go through legally.
Right. And legally, that's the word here. That's what separates this whole deal. I mean, if you're here legally, welcome.
Yes.
But we're not going to have you just come on in and, and live in a hotel in New York City and let the government issue a cell phone and, grocery money and all that sort of thing. So anyway, but I just thought what she said was very direct. She was speaking for the president, clearly. But I just thought it was very direct. I thought it was well done. And I thought at the end she turned it around a little bit by saying, we welcome you, but you have to respect and obey our laws. That's the long and short of it, which should be the long and short of everything. Okay, Federal government issued a memo directing executive branch agencies to submit reorganization plans and prepare for large-scale firings by March 13th. Supported by the Office of Management and Budget and Office of Personnel Management, the memo aims to streamline agencies and reduce costs, excluding specific positions. So they're taking a look position by position and making the changes in that way. So when we come back, a couple of things. Half of American diets consist of nothing but processed foods, and 17% of Americans want to move outside the USA. We'll talk about that when we come back on Morning Talk.
Back with more Morning Talk with Mary Dolan and Dave Bishop. Brought to you by Pioneer Care and Fergus Falls Monument Company. After the markets on News Talk 1250 KBRF. Depend on it.
Today on Hot Talk with the Ox. Right away, hear highlights from Trump's first cabinet meeting yesterday, including Elon Musk. At 3:06, if all goes well, hear from a guy jailed during the January 6th mostly peaceful protest at the U.S. Capitol. At 4:06, hear the latest from the legislative session in St. Paul, but be advised, the schedule may be fluid today, so bear with us, and we'll see you for Hot Talk with the Ox today from 2 to 5 on KBRF.
What's the ox say? Got a lot of people talking, saving money, having fun. Got a lot of people asking where to go, where to run. Got a lot of people clicking, I bought it on. Deals, give me those deals.
At FergusFallsDeals.com.
Got a lot of people shopping online and on the go.
At FergusFallsDeals.com.
Stay healthy and happy, even in winter. Unveiled Local has tips to keep you moving and feeling great. You know the saying, laughter is good for the soul? But have you heard of laughter yoga? Details in this month's Healthy Living section of Unveiled Local. Embrace the beauty of winter and refresh your mind when you get outdoors. We have tips on winter-proofing your workout by helping you dress for outdoor exercise. Make 2025 your healthiest year yet, with helpful tips found at unveiledlocal.com.
Find out why the markets are moving. Get in-depth ag information with the Red River Farm Network on News Talk 1250 KBRF. Depend on it.
Good morning. Market update on the Red River Farm Network. I'm Randy Conan. Grain markets continue to trade mixed here this morning. We've got wheat and corn trading lower. Soybeans are trading a bit higher here. Heartland Invest CTA Gene Grainer says the Ag Outlook Forum numbers this morning seem to be driving this market.
The USDA Ag Forum, which is notoriously for being horribly wrong. Keep in mind that the guesses that they put out for corn last year for carryout currently is a miss of 700 million bushels, and probably still counting yet. And they had put their guesses out this morning, putting the acreage pretty much where everybody was thinking it could be, up 2 million acres from last year. 94 million acres is the number. Of course, they're utilizing trendline yields. Well, slightly, yes, less than trendline. They went with 181 bushels per acre, which, keep in mind, for the last 6 years, we have not came close to a trendline yield. Last year was the closest with 177.6 bushels to acres. So you've got to take this with a grain of salt.
Cash cattle market continues to drive livestock futures.
Well, the cash cattle trade is stuck in a rut, so to speak. Seasonally, box beef business bottoms out the last week of February. It looks like box beef probably bottomed out late last week, and there's the prospect and hope that cash cattle trade will be steady this week. Small amount of cattle traded in Kansas yesterday, down $2 on the week at $197, but that's not a big test. It was small numbers. The February cattle contract, which goes off tomorrow, trading up 42 cents.
You're listening to the Red River Farm Network. This is Corn Matters, an update from the Minnesota Corn Growers Association. Minnesota Corn Growers Association President Jim Canton is with us. Jim, late last week, EPA announced they will allow summer E15 to be sold in 8 Midwestern states.
We're very pleased that EPA decided to follow through with this petition that several Midwest governors had put in a while ago to allow E15 to be sold year-round. We're hoping that this can be fixed legislatively to have a permanent instead of like a patchwork of some states that you can and some that you can't. Right now, Congress is working on the Nationwide Consumer and Fuel Retailer Choice Act. That is a bipartisan bill that will allow E15 to be sold nationwide permanently. We're hoping that can get passed in the near term to solve this problem.
The mission of the Minnesota Corn Growers Association is to identify and promote opportunities for corn growers. That's because corn matters.
This is Jamie Dickerman from the Red River Farm Network. Join me this week at the USDA Agricultural Outlook Forum. USDA Chief Economist Seth Meyers kicks things off Thursday with the latest market and trade outlook, plus 30 breakout sessions covering everything from commodity forecasts to ag transportation and workforce updates. We'll be on the ground in Washington, D.C., bringing you exclusive interviews from Capitol Hill, coverage of the Senate Ag Committee hearing, and insights from the NASDA Winter Policy Conference. Tune in for coverage all this week. Brought to you by Minnesota Corn Growers Association, Amity Technology, North Dakota Corn Growers Association, and Ag Country Farm Credit Services.
The Red River Farm Network is reporting on the happenings in Bismarck with the North Dakota Legislative Report. Each Friday morning at 6:37, you'll hear from lawmakers and ag leaders. This special coverage made possible by NDFB, Ag Country Farm Credit Services, North Dakota Grain Growers Association, Northern Pulse Growers Association, North Dakota Farmers Union, and the North Dakota Corn Growers Association. The North Dakota Legislative Report, Fridays on the Red River Farm Network.
May wheat Minneapolis is down 10 3/4 cents, 607. Chicago May wheat down 15. Kansas City May wheat down 14.5. May corn is down 7 cents, 486.5. December corn's down 463. May soybeans 5 3/4 cents higher, 1047. November soybeans 4 1/4 higher, 1049 3/4. March canola in Winnipeg is $6.40 a metric ton higher, 655.30 Canadian. April live cattle 45 cents higher, 195.07. June is down 2 cents. April feeder cattle 82 cents higher at 274.35. May is $1.12 higher. April hogs down $2.25 at 86.05. May down $2.10. This is the Red River Farm Network.
There was this one time when our keynote presentation crashed because of outdated equipment. So embarrassing. I needed a venue that could handle our tech needs without a hiccup, and the Big Wood Event Center delivered. From their fast Wi-Fi to reliable microphones and projectors, everything worked great. It gave us peace of mind and it allowed us to put on a polished professional presentation. Their setup let us focus on what mattered most, getting our message across. Meetings with impact begin at bigwoodeventcenter.com.
Winter weather can change quickly and can be hazardous. Listen to News Talk 1250 KBRF for the latest weather-related postponements and cancellations. Brought to you by Buyer Towing and Transport, Northwest Tire, and Ugstead Plumbing and Heating. Schools, businesses, churches, and events. You can find postponements and cancellations on KBRFradio.com and the Fergus Now app. Weather-related announcements brought to you by Ugstead Plumbing and Heating, Northwest Tire, and Buyer Towing and Transport.
Get ready to relive the greatest hits of the 60s with 60s Mania, the ultimate tribute band, straight from Las Vegas. From the Beatles' British Invasion to the music of Woodstock, it's all happening at a Center for the Arts spring fundraiser on Wednesday, March 19th at 7 p.m. VIP tickets include early access at 5:45 p.m. with a complimentary drink and charcuterie spread. Show-only tickets open at 6:15 p.m. with wine, beer, and concessions available. Get your tickets now at fergusarts.org.
Community is important, and you'll find it at Pioneer Point. Spacious apartments, thoughtfully designed for older adults, provide the best in senior living. Heated parking and elevator access makes life easy. Your neighbors at Pioneer Point hold a welcoming, family-like approach to living. Choosing from an array of special features and options, you'll find many ways to define your lifestyle at Pioneer Point. Call or schedule your tour online today at pioneercare.org.
Talk 1250 KBRF. Listen anytime, any place with the Fergus Now app on your phone. Checking our forecast for today. Looking at a high up around 43 for tonight, 36 for our low, 38 for Friday's high. Cooling off, though, Friday night down to 7 above for our low. And then Saturday, 26, and then 17 Saturday night, 46 Sunday, 51 Monday, 40 Tuesday, 33 on Wednesday. Right now, Fergus Falls at 34. It's Morning Talk, brought to you this morning and every morning by our friends at Pioneer Care and at Fergus Falls Monument.
Did I hear you right? We're going to touch 50 degrees
next week.
Wow. Yeah, there were people I saw. There were news stories, of course, all over, especially the state of Minnesota. I saw one guy, actually, they cut a hole in Lake Harriet, and 2 of them got in, and they were, like, sitting, like leaning back on the ice, like it was summer, and they were sitting in a hot tub or something. And I don't know how they were doing it, but then they actually like dunked all the way under.
Well, some people like that.
Ooh,
I'm not one of them.
That would stop my heart. My goodness. Anyway, yeah, I don't need to do that. But getting outside, and people were out riding bike and walking dogs, and this was around Lake Harriet, and the piece of footage that I saw, it was no snow at all, none.
Yeah, as closer you get to the cities, less snow.
We're getting to that here. The only place that I really have snow in my yard is kind of on the edge of the driveway where we've, blown it into higher piles.
I've got a little bit of snow here and there.
Do you? Yeah. Well, we do too, a little bit here and there. But my goodness, this last week has sure taken a lot of the snow, and especially if you drive out of town and you drive near any, fields.
Oh, yeah, the black fields, they're gone.
Those black fields, of course, it just draws the sun, and they're down to dirt. So it looks like spring, and I know we can have our hopes dashed pretty quickly, but so far the forecast looking okay.
It is.
Yeah. Okay, something that was in the news this morning that really surprised me, Gene Hackman and his wife
and their
dog all found dead in their New Mexico home. They're not saying what the cause of death was. They're saying that, they're not looking at any skullduggery.
They were found this morning, so they're just starting the investigation. But when you have 2 people and the dog, it definitely kind of leans towards CO2.
Yeah, it sure does. But just imagine, I think he's like 95. I couldn't believe how old he was.
He was 95 and she was 64, if I'm right.
Right. Anyway, and they had been married for like 34 years or something like that. So, and he is, since his retirement, he is really just, they've gone to New Mexico and they've just hung out.
Those are the celebrities I like.
Me too. They
can go away.
They do their thing, they go away, and they live, hopefully, what was an enjoyable life. She was a concert pianist, I believe, or pianist. I'm not sure how you say that today. But anyway, a classical pianist, I guess I should say. Anyway, yeah, that was sad news. I mean, he's older, but she certainly seems quite young.
But
I can say that because I'm 64, so I think that's very young, of course.
But with both of them going, and the dog and the pet, so
yeah, I would agree.
I will not be shocked if they say it was CO2.
I think and I don't, and maybe they don't know that for certain yet. But I thought it was interesting that they just didn't even try to give a cause of death. So, I have a really good feel-good story for you at the end. So I saw a really touching story this morning that I want to share. Okay, so to those stories that I teased at the beginning of the show, or just before we went to the break, Johns Hopkins has revealed that more than half of Americans' diet consists only of ultra-processed foods.
That's sad.
That is sad, and that's why we're all fat and unhealthy.
Yeah.
34,000 American adults found that ultra-processed foods made up a substantial portion of their diets, even when they made their meals at home. So you might make something at home, but you might be taking out a box of macaroni and cheese. That's processed food.
Oh, yeah. When cheese is powder, that's processed.
And so when you take it out of a box, that's processed food.
Yep.
Unless you are buying fresh meat, fresh vegetables, fresh fruit. Those are the only things that are not processed foods. And they may be processed too, of course. Most of that stuff has to have some kind of processing just to come in the United States. So anyway, but the proliferation of ultra-processed foods on grocery store shelves is changing what we are eating when we make meals at home. So I think that is the cause of a lot of issues that we're seeing, including cancers, maybe, just by virtue of the garbage that we are eating. And even when you buy fresh meat, where did that come from? What were they fed? It's again, I feel like I'm a conspiracy theorist all the way around. But at least if you're eating fruits and vegetables and you're cooking fresh meat and that sort of thing, I think you're better off than if you take all this stuff out of a box or a bag. Anyway, ultra-processed foods could contain added sugars, unhealthy fats, and a ton of sodium is usually what's in it. And all of those things are linked to chronic health conditions.
Yep.
So diabetes probably being maybe first and foremost, yeah. Okay, here's the one that says a good chunk of Americans, 17%. I don't know how many were polled. Oh, 2,000 people were polled, so pretty small. Small poll. But anyway, of those 2,000, 17% of those Americans said, we would like to move outside of the country.
I'll bet you it was 2,000 Californians.
Yeah, 2,000.
People from L.A.
Right. 2% already have their plans in place. Now, popular destinations include Canada, England, Australia, Ireland, and Costa Rica.
Well, I'll tell you right off the bat, Ireland and England won't take you unless you have the proper things. I mean, they're very, very picky on who they let
for
move.
sure. They sure are. Many professionals, especially younger generations, are questioning whether the traditional American dream, and that's in quotes, is still attainable. Is it out there? Can we have it? In contrast, many countries offer more affordable living, universal health care, which really sounds good until you need it.
Yep.
And then it's not so good. And they say many of these countries offer a better work-life balance.
I can believe that.
Yeah, I can too. 2/3 of respondents think American healthcare and education systems are broken. I couldn't agree more.
I definitely agree.
Oh boy. Yeah, I think that's absolutely true. If you are a person who works overnight, how about melatonin, taking melatonin when you are ready to get home and sleep when you are not working? That would be hard. I think shift work would be really, really hard.
I remember when I started here, I worked overnights. I worked at 10 at night till 6 in the morning.
Yeah, now we don't even have anybody in the building.
No. I was one of the last overnighters.
Really?
Yep.
Okay.
And
when you started in radio, typically that's where you began. You do the overnights.
You start in the overnights and you work your way up.
Right.
And yeah, it was difficult because all my friends, when I was awake, they were all asleep, and then when
totally different schedules. Yep. Well, anyway, a study that was published in Occupational and Environmental Medicine found that taking melatonin could help night workers reduce their risk of cancer, believe it or not. Working at night can compromise the body's ability to repair DNA damage, which could result in an increased risk of the disease. Participants who took melatonin contained 80% higher of a level of something that you would need. It is a chemical that is linked to DNA cell repair.
Oh, wow.
And 80% more if you take melatonin. Melatonin does zip for me. Nothing.
Melatonin helps me.
Really?
Yeah.
Of course, I've taken some serious narcotics after, like knee replacement surgery. And none of those work for me either. I think I'm just...
Wow.
I've probably talked about pharmaceuticals one too many times, and now it's coming back to haunt me.
They're
None
just
of them work for me.
It will not work for you.
So, yeah, anyway. Let's see what else we've got for you today. Here is an Airbnb
And for those of you who don't know what we're talking about vacation homes that you can rent. People actually rent out their homes. Airbnb is just one, VRBO, there's so many others. Anyway, after feeling pressure from animal rights groups, there are Airbnb homes around the pyramids that have stopped allowing tickets for camel rides in Egypt.
Really? I kind of figured that'd be kind of a draw.
Well, it would be a draw, except you've got the animal rights people breathing down your neck. Several investigations exposed animal cruelty toward camels and horses in the tourism industry. British Airways Holidays, EasyJet Holidays, G Adventures, and Hayes Travel have also removed this activity from their listings. Egypt's Ministry of Tourism and Antiquities has promised reforms and better treatment of the camels. Well, I can see if they're not treating them right.
It's an animal. You gotta treat it
but
correct.
some activists believe the activity should be banned entirely.
Well, some activists think that the camel should be allowed to just roam free and just be free.
Yeah. Well, anyway. Let's see. How about this one? Would you pay $19 for one single strawberry?
No.
It would have to be a darn good strawberry.
I'd be a nope for me.
Yeah. Well, anyway, is this single piece of fruit worth the price tag? Several content creators online say it is delicious. Wow, that is the best strawberry ever. That's crazy. This comes from an influencer. Said it in a video with over 15 million views. Well, if you're an influencer, you can say whatever you want to say and people buy it. The luxury berries from Eli Amai are individually packaged and rest on a small cushion, like a ring or something very special. If I dropped 20 bucks on a strawberry, I'd probably convince myself it was the best one I'd ever tasted too. And of course, this is somebody who thinks this commenter, this person online is just a knucklehead and has a lot of money because all these people are watching them. $20 for a strawberry. Better be a big one.
I'm still gonna pass. I could be a multimillionaire. I'm still not paying $20 for a
I
strawberry.
would pass too. You know, I love strawberries. I just, I don't know if anyone's tried this. I don't buy them often unless they're for something, specific. Because it seems like I rarely get to the bottom of the carton without them going bad.
Yeah, you gotta eat them fast.
You do. Okay, but somebody told, and maybe this was a hack that I saw online or something, but to take them out of that plastic container they come in, don't wash them, and put them in like a mason jar that has a screw on top, lid. And they say that they last far longer in like a mason jar or a canning jar.
There's a lot of talk that if you get bananas, first thing you should do is wash the outside because apparently they've got a ripening agent on them.
Oh. Okay.
So if you want your bananas to last, wash them.
Okay, somebody else told me this. I've not tested it. I don't know anything about it. But I was told that if you get the bunch of bananas, if you separate them and they are not touching each other, that they last longer. That's just what I want is, 6 bananas strewn across my countertop. But I'd rather have them go bad. But, yeah, I don't know if that works or not. I've just been told that. But does it work to put your strawberries in a mason jar? That's what I would like to know.
I don't know.
I keep forgetting to try that because I buy them and I almost always end up throwing 3 or 4.
Yeah.
Because they get bad fast.
They get bad in like 2 days.
They do. They do. You know what has really been lasting lately, and you know how much I love them because I always say, if you are what you eat, I'm a blueberry. The blueberries have been so good lately. And blueberries really last quite a while.
Yeah, they last
I'm
for a while,
finding, yeah. And some of them, I'm not kidding you, they are that big. They're like as big around as a nickel. And they're so good. And they're not mushy. They're
nice firm.
Yeah. They're so good. I've eaten so many blueberries in the last couple of weeks. So get out there and buy blueberries. Okay, trivia. We'll do trivia, and then I'm going to get to that feel good because that's such a good one. I don't want to miss out. These are so easy. You could have lobbed these at me, and I would have known them both. What U.S. city was the first Starbucks opened in?
That'd be Seattle.
Easy. Yes, Seattle. And how about this one?
What country does the cappuccino originate in?
Oh, Italy?
Yes.
The cappuccino monks.
Super easy. That's not even fair. Yeah, I should have just...
Hey, I'll take easy questions every once in a while. We had hard ones the other day. I got them wrong.
You deserve some easy ones from time to time because I lob some really difficult ones at you. Okay, so, and maybe am I premature on my field good?
Yeah, we got a couple minutes.
Okay. Let's see. Speaking of Starbucks, last week to snag some drinks, the frat purge is almost here. Streamlining the menu over at Starbucks, which means that they are discontinuing 13 drinks starting next week.
No.
So I know. So if you are a Starbucks lover, anyway, they're gonna get rid of some. I think they're more. I don't know if they're considered winter stuff or they're just, giving you less.
All
less
I know
choices.
is they're going to still have my cappuccino because I doubt the cappuccino's going anywhere. So.
No, they're all the beautiful drinks like Java chip, cafe vanilla, chai creme, white chocolate creme, espresso, white chocolate mocha, caramel ribbon crunch creme, double chocolatey chip, and chocolate cookie crumble cream. Holy smokes.
I had to laugh when we were in Cocoa Beach. There was a Starbucks right across the street from us, and it was not really a heavily used street, so we just kind of walked over there every morning and got our Starbucks. And because of the hotel coffee was awful, so we're in there, and somebody in front of me was ordering the most absurd drink I've ever heard of, and even the person taking the order was like, "Wow, that's kind of messed up." Then they get to me, I'm like, I'll take your large cappuccino. You want any flavoring?
Easy
No.
peasy. Yeah,
you want to throw a couple ice cubes in it to cool it off? That'd be awesome. They're like, oh yeah, they have a selection for drinkable.
Oh, they do.
Yeah.
Interesting. And they throw in ice.
We can make that drinkable temperature. I'm like, that would be awesome because I enjoy drinking my cappuccino.
Yeah, absolutely.
I hate you just barely sip it.
I just don't like it if it waters it down at all, which of course it's going to a little bit.
But I mean, I don't care. I just want to be able to
You
drink
know
it.
what? If you're a person in the morning, and I know I've talked about this before, but I think it's a genius idea, especially for that application, or if you like to drink iced coffee anytime in the summer or whenever. If you are the person who makes a pot of coffee in the morning, and then you've got a cup or 2 cups left in the bottom of the pot that nobody drank, pour them into ice cube trays.
Oh, yeah.
And then your ice
heard
cubes
that.
are actually coffee. So when you put the coffee ice cube into your coffee, it cools your coffee down or keeps your iced coffee cold, but it doesn't water it down. See, I think that's genius.
I've heard that I've heard people doing that with wine.
Oh. Yeah, except can you get wine to freeze?
I guess.
Maybe it depends on the
I've heard
kind of
people
wine.
doing it. I mean, the alcohol content isn't that high.
Oh, it's 11 to 13%.
Yeah, but it needs to be much higher for it to
I suppose.
not freeze.
Yeah, I that would be interesting. Might have to try that for science.
I've heard of people doing it. I have not done it
No,
myself.
me
I'm not a
neither.
wine person.
Okay, so here is the feel-good story. There was a little girl. She was only 11 years old, and she complained about stomach pain. And, of course, her mom became worried, took her to the doctor. Her symptoms became full throttle to the point that she passed out and her eyes rolled into the back of her head.
Whoa.
That's when the doctors were like, we need to test her other organs. Less than an hour later, they learned that this little girl, her name is Journey, was in heart failure, and her heart was only working at 12%. So here's what happened. Doctors knew she needed a heart transplant and fast. 11 years old. So when a heart became available, they also asked her a surprising question. Would the family be willing to donate Journey's valves to 2 other girls who needed them? So the little girl Journey gets someone else's heart, and they take Journey's damaged heart and take pieces out of it that help 2 other little girls, an aortic valve and then some other kind of valve. They took out of Journey's damaged heart and placed it into 2 other
that's nice.
little girls. So 3 little girls saved by 1 heart. So just a really cool story. And I happened to see a story about it, a video clip of the 3 of them. And they talked about, someone asked them, Do you think you guys will always stay in touch? And one of the little girls said, of course we will, because she's actually a part of me, or she's a part of us.
Nice.
It was really cute. Anyway, I'm sure you can go online and catch the story, but just really a sweet story. And this was one of the valves that they retrieved from the damaged heart was the first ever of its kind surgery.
Oh.
And these
you get
girls,
first and second.
these little girls are just doing great. So anyway, just a really good story to wrap up the week. All right, well, there it is. Another week of Morning Talk. We're glad that you could join us, and we hope you have a great weekend. Enjoy this nice weather. Of course, we'll be back with more on Monday. Our show today and every day brought to us by Pioneer Care and by Fergus Falls Monument Company. Have a great weekend.